Mr. Speaker.
I call Dr. Cam Calder.
Mr. Speaker, it's a pleasure to rise and acknowledge the contribution from a fellow member of the Select Committee last year, and I must acknowledge also the excellent chairmanship of Chairman Chris Ockenvold. It was a very collegial committee, and in this bill, the Southland District Council, Stewart Island, Rakiura Visitor Levy Empowering Bill was given significant consideration and debate. For reasons that many speakers have brought out. I have to confess a family link with the small Stewart Island community, and that an aunt of mine, Esther Patton, I'm led to believe, did actually run the small hotel in Oban many years ago. I have visited Stewart Island. There are a couple of small churches, there's some excellent shops, there's some tourist organisations there, and a visitor centre. And I think the community centre was actually developed, which contains the library, was actually developed by hard work of the local community, which we've heard is only around about 400 people. And opinions differ exactly as to how many ratepayers there are, because of course there are people who have holiday homes there, but there is a small, very small number of ratepayers, and the rating base is tiny compared with, say, North Shore City, where I see the ex-mayor of North Shore City sitting over there. Thank you very much. 250,000 people, but I think on Stewart Island it is a mere 400 or less, according to the information I have. And how many people visit Stewart Island? Well, we've heard from Eric Roy, and I must take this opportunity to compliment Mr. Roy. He's a bit of a renaissance man. I have had the pleasure of going fishing with him. I caught my first wild trout in the Joes River with Eric Roy some years ago. He's also a speaker in the House, as we know, and of course for many years, since 1994, he has pushed away on behalf of his local community, as the excellent MP he is, on behalf of the people of Stewart Island, on behalf of those small number of people who live in a small paradise, as we see. They don't live in Taradise, they don't live in Taranaki, they live in Stewart Island. They live in Rakiura, which is another paradise. We are blessed in this country with many beautiful parts of the world. I hear Tauranga has been put forward by my colleague on my left. Stewart Island, however, we know is special. It is special, very special. And as a student at Otago University, one of the joys I had was to, at Easter, we'd go out regularly on an Easter tramp, so to speak, and one year it was to Stewart Island. And we got off the ferry, I think, after a reasonably smooth crossing, much to our delight, at Half Moon Bay, and we tramped through to North Arm Hut. And North Arm Hut, I'm not sure if North Arm Hut is still there. I'm hoping to go down with the member for Invercargill at some time in the future and ascertain that for myself. But North Arm Hut was set about 10 feet above a beautiful little estuary, and on the fireplace, above the fireplace on the lintel, were written the words, "Peace and tranquility are here." Peace and tranquility are here, and that, in fact, well, the member for Tauranga says it's new age. Well, in fact, this was a few years ago. That word hadn't been invented at that stage, Simon. But there we are. It was indeed true, however. Peace and tranquility are here, and that really reflects the Maori, if I may use that term, the spirit of Stewart Island. And Maori, is it Maori? No. Well, we need to go through this at some stage. Thank you for that contribution from across the House. I shouldn't just use the word spirit, obviously, but it does reflect the spirit of the island, and that is why 40,000 visitors are drawn to that particular piece of our New Zealand paradise, and they come by ferry, they come by plane, and they come, as we've heard from the member for Invercargill, by cruise liners, and I think 19 due in this cruise season, and that will only increase with the attractiveness of New Zealand to the tourists from all over the world. So obviously a small rating base of around 400, including those who have holiday homes. It's asking a huge amount of these people, many of whom are permanent residents, Some, of course, have links with the island through long-term family links and maintain a holiday home there. It is only reasonable, we thought as a committee, and it was a collegial discussion of this, and I acknowledge the cooperation from all sides of the House, including the previous Speaker, Mr Twyford. Basically, this will dramatically reduce that rating burden on those residents there. Just as a point, I mean, it is a beautiful place. We have people who are interested in kayaking, people who are fishermen, people who come to get the white-tail deer, and we tramping on our way to North Arm Hut. We did catch a glimpse of one, but at that stage, this was when I was a student. I did a little bit of work as a student, but Easter we took off, and I must say, in a rush of enthusiasm, we decided to go from North Arm to Masons Bay and back in a day. I have to say, that was a bit of a trek. It was a bit of a trek. We came back one day, and it was my first experience of Sahib's knee, which I was later to find recurring in the Himalayas at a later date. But I do digress slightly. This is a wonderful bill. The cost to the community of their providing these essential services. We heard of the effect of the 400 cups of coffee from the previous speaker. The cost of these essential services, the infrastructure. There aren't many roads there, and there's a lot of attraction. There are not a lot of roads, but there are other essential services that need to be maintained, and they will be dramatically reduced if this visitor levy goes through, which I'm sure it will, with the support that we've seen in the House today. Now, to administer the levy, the bill provides for the Southland District Council to establish a subcommittee, and this subcommittee will consist of representatives from the tourism industry, the community board, and the district council. At this stage, we don't know what the amount of the levy will be, but as we have heard, the figure of $5 at this stage is likely to be a figure. The bill also established governance and administrative arrangements for the levy, including the process for setting and regularly reviewing the same. Mr Speaker, there'll be opportunity to debate this excellent bill future. I'll commend the bill to the House.
I call Reno Tirakatani.
Mr Speaker, I rise. I'm very proud.